Every time a rapper drops a new album, everybody on Twitter and Instagram won't shut the f up about how many sales it got in the first week. For some reason, so many people are obsessed over first week sales, even though they don't understand how they actually work. I will say that the triple cardboard memes are funny as fuck. But really though, why do people care so much when it doesn't even matter? I mean, first off, what technically counts as an album sale doesn't really mean the same as it used to. Back in the days before you could just stream music on Spotify or Apple Music, if you wanted to listen to a certain song or album, you had to physically go to the record store, look around for that song or album, and buy it and play it on your CD player or your stereo system. Back then, an album sale was just as simple as that. One sale meant one person bought that album. So back in the 2000s, it was way more common to see a famous rapper or singer sell a million albums in the first week. Because this was back when people still bought CDs or vinyls, so a million copies sold actually meant a million people bought the album. Even though iTunes came out in 2001, it wasn't like how Spotify works today. You still had to spend money to buy a song or album and get it on your phone, so digital sales still counted the same. And for a while, people still bought CDs, but over time, this changed. Over the years 1999 to 2009, album sales went down by over 50%. That does sound like a lot, but this doesn't mean that half of the population just stopped buying new music altogether. This just means that over the 2000s, the amount of money the music industry made went down by half. And this happened because a lot of people stopped buying CDs and started buying songs on iTunes. It was way cheaper to buy songs over the internet than it was to buy a CD in person, because with a CD, you had all these extra costs with shipping the albums to stores, which would drive up the price so the record labels and record stores could still profit. All it takes to buy a song over the internet is entering your credit card info and clicking a button. Or if you were using a peer-to-peer program like LimeWire, Napster, or Kazaa, all you had to do was search for a song and download it. And even then, the fact that album sales went down by over 50% just meant that the music industry made $6 billion that decade instead of $14 billion back in the 90s. But that's how that all worked like 15 to 20 years ago. After Spotify and Apple Music took over, that completely changed how money is made from music. Now, for the past 10 years or so, you make money every time someone plays a song. This is normal now, but this was a huge change back in the early 2010s. And because of how different streaming music is from straight up buying it, the industry had to change up its rules for album sales. In 2014, the Billboard 200 started using the term album equivalent unit to measure how popular albums were. An album equivalent unit determines how many streams is equal to one album sale. Instead of just tracking how many people bought or listened to an album, the industry counts how many streams an album gets and converts that to sales. And they add that on top of the amount of times people really bought the album, or pure sales. This is why even though millions of people can listen to an album after it just came out, it'll say it did 200K. And the amount of streams that counts as a sale has changed over the years. The industry changed that number again in 2018, and in 2023 they changed up the rules for first week sales. So really, first week sales don't mean anything anymore. Nowadays it's just an excuse for DJ academics and other rap pages to post that day. They know damn well if they post about an album selling 1,000 copies, they're gonna get a lot of comments making fun of it, so they do it to get more attention. Also, speaking of academics, how does that guy still have a platform? Didn't he get caught talking to a minor on Discord? So if first week sales don't mean anything anymore, why are they still talked about? Well, ever since the Billboard charts started keeping track of the most popular songs, they needed a way to figure out how many sales were coming in. Before first week sales, they used to just ask the people who ran the record stores to tell them how many albums they sold, and this had been going on since the 50s. The problem was, it was very easy for the owners of the record stores to lose track because they were counting all the sales themselves. So in 1991, the industry decided to start keeping track of sales using SoundScan, which is basically just a bunch of computers counting all the barcodes on CDs. Around the same time, this was when Billboard started measuring the popularity of the biggest songs on the charts with first week sales. Back then, this was still a pretty good way to show what the most popular songs were, because like I said, it showed how many people bought them, and that actually meant something back then. Nowadays, it barely means a thing, and the only reason why it's still used is because Billboard needs a way to track what the biggest songs of the week are. And labels need to know how popular their artists are to see if they gotta keep putting money behind them or not. So to this day, they're still being used. And since the industry bended the rules of first week sales after Spotify took over, it has become a lot easier to fake them. For the longest time, people in the music industry have been cheating their way to the charts. Methods like lying about record sales and payola have been done for decades. But streaming services open up the floodgates for how you can fake streams now. It is way cheaper for a record label to make a bunch of bots play a song a million times now than it was to buy a bunch of CDs from your own artist to run up record sales. In 2022, Young Thug admitted on a phone call in jail that he paid $50,000 for fake streams to help get Gunna's album DS Forever to #1 over Don FM.
The #1 album you just had right now, I paid for you to have a #1 album. You didn't, you know what I'm saying, honestly earn a #1 album over the weekend, my boy. I paid for that shit. I never said that to him. I never told him that. You know, cause we just got the plug on that. Like, you never earned a #1 album. I spent 50 extra grand buying my streams, $50,000 buying streams for you.
This was just one of the many jail calls that leaked just a couple months ago. Believe it or not, people have gone as far as hacking into Spotify accounts to run up streams. In 2019, a lot of people's Spotify accounts were hacked and forced to listen to French Montana's new song, Riding on the Wall. The song immediately went to #21 on the Spotify Top 50 while it was doing horrible on other platforms. All of this suspicious activity had everybody saying French Montana was trying to fake them streams. And even though he blamed 50 Cent out of all people for this, come on. This just added to the long list of reasons why everybody hates him. Another way they try to fake sales in the industry is by dropping album bundles. This is literally just selling an album with a t-shirt or some other item, and if done correctly, this can actually count towards album sales. At least it used to. When DJ Khaled dropped Father of Assad back in 2019, he also did a bundle where he sold energy drinks, and he was trying to make every energy drink sold count as an album sale. But Billboard caught on to the scheme. They didn't allow him to count the sales of the energy drinks as sales from the album, but DJ Khaled still managed to sell 170K first week and go #2 on the Billboard, only beaten out by Tyler the Creator's album Igor, which did over 200K. Father of Assad was still a pretty successful album, but for some reason Khaled was not happy. He went on Snapchat and went on this whole rant about how you don't hear Tyler's music in the barbershop.
I make albums so people can play it and you actually hear it. You know, driving your car, you hear another car playing it. You know, go to the barbershop, you hear them playing it. You know, turn the radio on and you hear them playing it. You know, it's playing everywhere. It's called great music. It's called albums that you actually hear the songs. Not no mysterious shit and you never hear it. On your dome.
And I you not, he stormed into Epic Records office with his entourage and had a whole ass temper tantrum over not going #1. By the way, you can't do album bundles anymore. Billboard banned them back in 2020 because they realized how people were using them to cheat their way up the charts. Taylor Swift ran up her album sales for Life of a Showgirl by dropping 34 different versions of the same album. Keep in mind, she did all of this over the span of a week. She was releasing all these different vinyls, CDs, and digital downloads because she understands how nowadays people barely buy albums anymore, and they mostly just stream it, so first week sales are mostly made up of streams. She also knows that because of that, albums barely get any pure sales anymore, and how pure sales add up way more than album equivalent units. And since she has one of the biggest and most diehard fan bases on earth, she can count on them buying every single version of the album in the first week, and she was pressuring her own fans by only having them out for a limited time and saying stuff like, "This is your last chance." And it turns out this actually worked. It worked so well that she sold 4 million copies in the first week, with 3.4 million being pure album sales. Even though she technically broke the record for the most first week sales, people do not like this album. So clearly first week sales can easily be manipulated and they don't matter that much anymore. When it comes to the success of an album, the fact that you gotta guilt trip your fans to buy your album 34 times isn't really a good sign. So yeah, first week sales ain't even actual sales most of the time. They're a relic of a bygone era that are only still interviews for competition. It's easy to fake them. Rap pages use them to get people talking because they have nothing else to post. And they don't even show how good an album does over the long run. Lil Baby had an album go #1 and do over 200K first week, and nobody cares about that album.